where people say, I am nothing, I am a wretch, I am this, and God is everything. Get it together, mate. I'm sorry to break it to you. God isn't going to be there saying, oh, you're a worthless son. You're this, you're that. I can't believe you did that. I can't believe you did this. You're going to hell. Absolutely not. You really think I care about the action more than I care about them knowing who they were designed to be, right? What happens if you just keep being a child when they mess up rather than explaining that they were designed for better things? The child will just grow to hate you. You don't have to be perfect to start your journey. Specifically this spiritual journey. You don't have to be perfect to learn how to travel in the spirit. You don't have to be perfect to learn how to travel in the soul, the astral plane. You don't have to be perfect either to learn how to heal people. You don't have to be perfect to have direct encounters with Yeshua, with the divine, with beings, with the cloud of witnesses. I need to be careful what I say. I need to be very careful what I say. But you don't have to be perfect. This notion that you can only go before God perfect is one that is often stopping you and often stops other people from truly becoming who they are supposed to become. Because you are essentially making yourself or instilling in yourself a level of fear when it comes to encountering the divine, and they're your family. Regardless of what you've done that day, you still come home to your parents, right? In real life. Especially as a child, you go to school, sometimes you get in trouble, sometimes you have good days, you still come home to your parents. And if they're good parents, you know, they may discipline you, but they still love you. And that's what it is. Through spending time with these beings and through learning about who you were designed to be, you will then begin to become more quote unquote perfect. And by that, I mean the negative attributes that you have, the parts of yourself that you don't like, you can then begin to strip away and will naturally become stripped away. There are certain things that I used to do 5 years ago that no longer apply to me. And there are certain things that I do now that I don't want to be doing in like a year or 2, 3, 4 years. But it's a continuous journey. People often fall into the trap of thinking that, you know, if I've messed up today, I can't then come before God, or I'm scared to come before God, or I'm scared to do any type of spiritual practice or work because it opens myself up to certain things. Now, don't get me wrong, certain actions do open yourselves up to spiritual attacks. I'm going to be real. Open doors. It's a real thing. However, when it comes to encountering Father, Mother, Spirit directly, Yeshua, your family, it doesn't matter. You just have to be consistent at it and essentially just tune into the awareness, because they are always around you. Based on the anatomy of your body, soul, and spirit, they are always also within you in dimensions and places where you can actually go to meet them. That is a teaching for another day. But all I wanted to say was I just wanted to let you guys know perfection isn't a requirement at the beginning. If it was, then there wouldn't really be a point in you having the relationship in the first place. The whole point of this spiritual journey is so that you can learn from Father who you're supposed to be and morph into that person. So that journey of development will naturally cause you to shed behaviors, shed mindsets and characteristics that are not in alignment with who you were designed to be. The most important part is finding out who you were designed to be, and you find out who you're designed to be by seeing and watching the Father, your mom, Yeshua, beings, your teachers, the people who have been assigned to you, the 7 spirits, learning from them and then allowing that to change who you are. Over time, for example, with me and the energy that is within my body when it comes to the energy centers, now I'm a lot more peaceful than I was when I first started. If I'd have thought, oh, I can only come and meditate and do all these things when I'm already peaceful, there wouldn't be a point in me doing it. And people think and say to me, oh, I can't sit down and meditate how you can because I'm not relaxed and peaceful. Do you think I was relaxed and peaceful when I first started? Absolutely not. I wasn't perfect. I wasn't as I am now, and I'm still not perfect. I took the decision to practice and to do these things, and I just had faith, and I knew that with time and through consistency, my character would change, my demeanor would change. All the things that I didn't like would leave. And for those of you who aren't willing to do that, I ask you this: which do you think is more worth it? You go into a building and being shouted at week after week after week and never changing for 10 years, or you, regardless of what you do in the week, in the same way a lot of people go to buildings and go to other religious institutions and places after doing a madness in the week, you doing the same madness but entering into a place where you can directly experience the divine who tells you and shows you who you're supposed to be, right? Which do you think is really more effective? Because you'll go before God and God isn't, I'm sorry to break it to you, God isn't going to be there saying, oh, you're a worthless son. You're this, you're that. I can't believe you did that. I can't believe you did this. You're going to hell. Absolutely not. I think it's gone to the point where people are conditioned to love hating themselves, which is why there's often this self-diminishing, no, that's not the word, self-diminishing that occurs where people say, I am nothing. I am a wretch. I am this and God is everything. Get it together, mate. You were designed to be a son, to carry and harbor that same divine presence and do the things that Yeshua did and greater and more. On a slight tangent there, but I just want to make this point very clear. You don't have to be perfect at the beginning. You don't. And don't let religious people think that you do, right? And that's why even with me now, there are certain things that I used to do where I used to judge people for certain things. It doesn't stop me or doesn't stop them anymore. Certain beliefs that I used to have, certain ways that I'd look down on certain people who had certain mindsets or certain lifestyles, not anymore, because I understand that what's more important than me policing someone else's behavior or someone else's mentality, someone else's views, is them learning how to connect with the divine themselves and the divine telling them and helping them become who they were designed to be. You think I really care if someone else is out there living a life of sin, doing all of these things? You really think I care about the action more than I care about them knowing who they were designed to be, right? What happens if you just keep being a child when they mess up rather than explaining that they were designed for better things? The child will just grow to hate you, or the child will be so confused as to why what they're doing is wrong when they don't realize you weren't designed to be selling drugs on the streets or this and that. You were designed to run a business, but you don't know that if you're not told that. I should put it like that. You won't know. You'll just go out and think, oh, this person just hates me. You take someone who's hustling in the streets, right? You take someone who's a criminal and you make them shadow a billionaire for a month or 2 months or 3 months to see how the billionaire's living. Make them learn from the billionaire, and hopefully the billionaire got there not by doing illicit activities. And what will happen is that person's mindset will change. They'll think, I don't have to sell drugs. I don't have to constantly be looking over my back. And so I'm going to make the decision now to stop selling drugs. I don't have the desire to sell drugs anymore. My inheritance is that I'm supposed to be running a business like this, and there are businesses waiting for me. So let me just become who I'm supposed to become and then start a business and I'll be fine. Parallel story, you get the point, right? If I'm someone who's trapped in all of these different things and cycles and things that I'm doing that are wrong, when I encounter God and God shows me who he designed me to be, I'm not going to want to do those things anymore. That is much better than me walking down the street and having a man shout at me saying, because you do this, you're damned, you're going to hell, etc., etc. So with that, I'm going to leave it there and just say this once again as a final reminder. You don't have to be perfect. Even if you mess up that day, you can still attend your meetings. You can still attend, by meetings, I mean meetings with divine beings. You can still do your practice, guys. Don't let it take away from who you are. And with that, you know how I like to end my videos, guys. Peace.